20s, the state fair, any big state fair, always concluded by a big car championship race. The trappings never changed. There was a pace car, blazing speed. However, in those days, those incredible daredevils did it in the dirt. And the pole sitters had names like Shaw and Horn and Milwaukee's own Carl Marchese. Today, the Flying Hawaiian, Danny and Gaius, leads a new generation to the starting line at the Wisconsin State Fair, the only state fair that still concludes with a major United States Auto Club Championship car race. Hello, I'm Ken Squire, and we're ready for event number 12 on the USAC Trail, the Milwaukee 200, in the memory of the great Tony Bettenhausen. With me is David Hobbs and Brock Yates. The controversy that we saw start in Texas is still gathering storm, and let's listen to Brock Yates as to what's happening there.
Well, Ken, you know, even in the best of times, the USAC pits, where I'll spend the afternoon, is full of frayed tempers and angry folks, but it's a little even worse than normal today. It's a question of the haves versus the have-nots. The haves have the Cosworth V8s. The have-nots have the venerable old Offenhauser four-cylinder engines. That contingent is unhappy. The United States Auto Club Competition Committee is making some attempt to equalize the competition. I know you're going to explain that in the course of the show, but at this point, things are not all sweetness and light down here in the pits.
Four-cylinder one here for the first time in 1934. Wilbur Shaw was the driver. Well, Obbs, what about the race?
Well, Squire, as we've seen already on the pole is Danny Gaius for the 6th time out of those 12 races this year, and for his 4th new qualifying record at a shattering hair under 135 miles an hour around this 1 mile oval. However, he's not up there alone. Right alongside him is Tom Sneaver, currently leading the point standings and last year's champion. Right behind him is Rick Mears in the other Roger Penske car, and right behind him is Gordon Johncock, a very surprising position in view of Gordon's outspoken comments regarding the effectiveness of his four-cylinder engine. But I think we'll see him doing a good, strong show today, and Danny, of course, trying to get back in winner's circle.
And you're going to see it all live here on CBS.
United States Auto Club. Fran Overstreet is here today, located outside of Gate 2 of the grandstand.
Gentlemen, your engines.
There's the commander.
Live from the Wisconsin State Fair Park Speedway, a CBS Sports Special, the Milwaukee 200. Sponsored by CarQuest. We know what you mean when you're talking auto parts. The 1,700 JCPenney stores coast to coast and the catalog. And by Schlitz. Beer makes it good, Schlitz makes it great.
From El Paso to Cheyenne, the West was wild once, and sometimes it still is.
Beer makes it good.
Here's just one Schlitz.
Today have to be the best to meet the tests of competition. And you can buy the same top-quality name brands for your car at your CarQuest Auto Parts store at money-saving prices.
The pole sitter for this 200-mile, 100-lap event is Danny Gaius, who qualified at a new record, breaking his own old mark by 3/100ths of a second. Earlier, we asked Danny Gaius how important the pole position would be here at Milwaukee today.
Well, I think it helps everybody. It makes you feel good. All of the folks that I worked with did their job, and I was able to do mine well enough so that we will have a good starting position. And it counts for an awful lot at the start of the race, going in feeling that way.
Danny Gaius on the pole with the Interscope Cosworth automobile. Beside him in that front row will be Tom Sneaver. Tom Sneaver darting up for the 2nd position, still looking for his first win of the season. Then in row number 2 is Gordon Johncock and Rick Mears, the young sensation this year, who's already pulled out 2 victories. In row 3 will be Johnny Rutherford and Wally Dallenbach as we prepare for a start here. The pace car is already in, and they're coming down for green this time by Going to row 4, it's Al Unser and A.J. Foyt. Row 5 is Dick Simon and Johnny Parsons. And they're going to take one more lap. There is another lap before they release them. Row 6 is Bobby Unser in the Dan Gurney car and Spike Gilhousen in number 19. Taking a look at row 7, Steve Krisilov, flanked by Al Laquasco, the Pennsylvania driver. Then in row 8, it's Tom Bigelow, the great dirt track driver, and the Canadian, Cliff Huckel, will be flanking him in that yellow car that you see scrubbing his tires up. Row 9 is Sheldon Kinser, another great dirt tracker, and the famous Texan Jim McElreath is beside him in row number 9. The 10th row is Boom Boom, Larry Cannon, and Lee Kuntzman is back with a brand new car built in England, car number 90. Kuntzman qualifying it for the first time. Finally, we come to row 11. That's Gary Bettenhausen, for whom this race is run today in his dad's memory. Gary Bettenhausen starting 21st, and Todd Gibson will start in the scratch position, 22nd on the field. Pace car is coming in, and we're just about set for the start of the Bettenhausen Memorial, the Milwaukee 200 live here on CBS. Field in turn number 4. The Indianapolis Championship car racing comes to the line. Going into turn number 1, leader Danny Ungaius goes out in front. Sneva trying for second, and there is a challenge immediately for second place. Down the back straightaway, one car spinning, and it is Johnny Rutherford's number 4 has spun in turn number 2.
Absolutely miraculous. He missed by everybody else. Boy, everybody took tremendous control there because he was right in front of the pack.
Caution will be coming out as they come to the line. Field coming down very slowly. Johnny Rutherford had started in 5th position. He was in about that spot with 17 cars behind him when the car broke away, and there you see it lying across the track. Field trying to move him out. John Rutherford's car, number 4, the McLaren.
Former winner here. Danny Ungaius made the start that he wanted to make. He got away in front, and the two Penske drivers, Rick Mears was trying to come around the outside of Tom Snead there in turn 1, but of course the whole thing rather fell apart when Johnny Rutherford just right behind him spun.
Let's see if we can see it in slow motion here, David. Coming out of turn 2.
There we see a lot of smoke and some miraculous avoidances. There's none of those drivers. Very difficult for them to see what's happening in all that smoke, and of course over the tops of the other cars in front of you. That's one thing that most people watching these races don't realize. When you're driving a single-seater racing car, it's a bit like sitting on the floor. You get about that much vision. Not much.
Field coming down by under caution, coming after we've only made about a turn and a half on the track. We'll be back with more live action from the Milwaukee 200 in a moment.
Aerosol, not an economical way to apply deodorant. In fact, you'd use up...
John Rutherford is now 2 laps down. Early this season, he was not even in the top 10 of the standings going into today's race. He was 4th in the national standings and had a good shot at both Al Unser 2nd and Wally Dallenbach 3rd in the national standings. But now he has to come from 2 laps down. On this track, it could be done because there is such a high attrition rate here. Now, there's the leader, Danny Ungaius, car number 25. Upcoming later this afternoon, the Westchester Golf Classic, and there you see the scores as they're back underway. Alan Tapey currently tied at 8 under with Gibby Gilbert, and Hubie Green 1 back at 7. We have 4 tied at 6. Nicholas, Greer Jones, Eichelberger, and Lee Elder. That's coming up later this afternoon. You'll see it live right here on CBS. Well, right now you're watching as it happens from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tony Bettenhausen Memorial, the Milwaukee 200. Pace car is coming in, and as the field comes around to complete its 4th lap, we're getting green once again, and it'll be a battle between the Penske PC6s. 3 cars wide for second place. Look at that battle down into turn number 1. It's Gordon Johncock trying to scoot through on the inside. The Penske cars in the middle. Ungaius is out in front. Danny Ungaius has the lead as the field snarls out of turn number 2. Coming by to complete the 5th of 100 laps. Ungaius in front, and there's a challenge for second position. Gordon Johncock slips down to the inside, goes up to 160 miles an hour, and he challenges Rick Mears, who is now in second place as they go to turn 1. There's Betty Rutherford scoring her husband's car, now 2 laps down. Ungaius, number 25, in front and drawing away from the field. It is Johncock in second, and they shuffle a little bit between the Penske cars back there in 3rd spot. Here's Ungaius clearly getting out in front. Remember, this is the track where he seems to be able to run anywhere.
And there's that poor little four-cylinder engine car behind him.